Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of the Lower League Look. Again, guys, last week doubled our listeners. To be fair, when I say doubled, that first week when we talk about how we had 4 people listening, we had 700 and odd last week.
Wow.
That's good going.
That's crazy.
698 of them, I think, were Oldham fans, which I'm going to touch on straight away. I'm going to thank Chris last week. It was phenomenal for coming on. And we invited Oldham fans to challenge him and to come on and say, I don't agree with what he's saying. I've had so many comments from Oldham fans, and not one Oldham fan has disagreed with a word that he said. And I think, had he not done that speech at the end, they possibly may have done. That speech at the end was essentially just saying, it doesn't matter what my thoughts are, doesn't matter what your thoughts are, Oldham is why we're doing this. And I watched it back and I was like, yes! Like, I stood on my chair, I was fist pumping. It's like, here we go. So yeah, episode 4, no Oldham fans.
I think we all really enjoyed seeing the Oldham results after that as well, and seeing them doing well. But do you know what I'm really, really disappointed in? I'm disappointed in the Oldham social media team that they've not picked up on hashtag #ShezErection.
Yes.
That is sitting there. It's ready for them to take. Why don't they just go hashtag #ShezErection? Like, it's better than the Great Escape, isn't it? Come on, Oldham social media team, get on it. #ShezErection.
And you're right, and that's the thing. And one thing that wasn't in the chat last week was an agreement that I had with Chris. Was that I said if Shezza keeps them up, I'm going to buy an Oldham shirt with Sir Sheridan 6 on the back. And do you know what? I watched the game on Saturday against Scunthorpe, and I thought they were well deserved 3 points. They had an absolute deliberate penalty turned down. How it wasn't a penalty was ridiculous. They were literally playing against 12 men. There's no doubt about it. However, they managed to sneak that win, and their fans were absolutely fantastic all the way through the game. The support, the club seems to be. I know they've still got some issues, but you know what? I think the feel-good factor is slowly coming back to Oldham, and I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to stay up.
It's the magic Mike. It's the Fondop effect.
It is the Fondop effect. However, injured first game. Concussed, which means if what Chris told me is right, he won't be playing Bradford. I think that would be his last game of his, because he's got to have I think it was like a concussion break, so they've got to have a certain amount of time off, and I think the Bradford game will be the last one he misses.
Bradford strike one.
Yeah, but the thing, can you imagine if he jumps for another header? But we did agree that if he scores in his first 3 games, and that doesn't include the games. Obviously, Chris was like, "Well, he's out injured," and we're like, "No, it's games that he plays. If he comes off in the bench in the 90th minute, unfortunately, that's counted as a game." Because I'm not being any more lenient on this. I really don't want to buy an Oldham shirt with Fondop on the back. I'm not going to lie, but it still stands. So 2-2 under Shez. ShezErection. I think Oldham fans, if you're listening, tweet this out, share the video, hashtag ShezErection, tag the club, tag the players. Just try and. It's got to work. It's got to be a thing.
Let's get Let's try and get it going from here. Hashtag ShezErection. You heard it here first.
Yes, you did. So speaking at the bottom of the league, because unfortunately Oldham, you are still there at the minute. Walsall, big news this week. We're going into League 2, sacking the manager.
Yeah.
What do you think? Grant, I know you've got some strong opinions on this.
It's been coming. It's been coming. I think we spoke about Walsall a couple of times, saying that they've been really, really struggling. Well, it's not my strong opinions on it. I've been going through Walsall fans' Twitter pages. I've been going through the fan message boards, seeing what the fans have had to say for it. Do you know what? A lot of them are really, really sympathetic towards Matty Taylor. I'm not going to give a percentage on it. They don't seem to blame him at all. They blame Jamie Fullerton for what's going on everything.
So who is Jamie Fullerton? Sorry,
my understanding of it, Walsall fans, correct me if I'm wrong, he's basically like their director of football or technical director.
So he's like an Ed Woodward for them.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. And he's been in charge of recruitment for everything. He's brought in Matty Taylor, who's had
no managerial experience really at all. Been in charge of a lot of the signings. They've been really critical with their striker signings as well. In January, they signed Devante Rodney. He signed Devante Rodney, who is openly injured. And he's been struggling at Bristol Rovers for game time because he is chronically injured. And he's brought him in going, he is the striker to take us forward. And I just don't see why. So, yeah, a lot of the fans have been extremely critical of Fullerton, and they're going, we don't even trust him to bring in the new manager and to back him. And what manager would actually want to play under him and the toxicity that's at the club with him? So it's an interesting one.
It is interesting, and I think me and Chris spoke just before you came on, Grant. Me and Chris spoke about one or two things happens when you sack a manager. Your players either all band together and it's a good thing and they get a decent string of results under them, or they're going to crumble. And I've looked at the bottom of the league, and I think to be fair, a couple of weeks ago we said Oldham looked like they were going to be the first side that dropped out of the league. It looks like Scunthorpe now. Scunthorpe are on an absolutely terrible run, and I think Scunthorpe fans are quite sort of resigned to that. Scunny fans, if you want to talk about it and you want to, say you're not, and you think that there's a reason why, I'd love to hear it. But for me, there's four sides that are in that fight with Scunthorpe, and that's Carlisle, Barrow, Oldham, and now Walsall. So what I've done, and this is a little thing for you here, guys, I've looked at each of those four sides, and I've looked at the next 5 games, because I think you don't really look much further than that with injuries and stuff. Your next 5 games you try and sort of look at. And I've tried to see where they can get points. And I want to know if you guys agree with me on this. So I'm going to start with Carlisle's. Carlisle's next 5 games are Colchester, Swindon, Orient, Rochdale, and Oldham. So 5 games, 15 points. I've got Carlisle picking up 2 points in that.
I mean, they've got an easier run than Walsall, I'll say that for a start. And I've got their games written down here as well.
Grant, you're not going to like my predictions on Walsall.
Carlisle, I think they seem to be in free fall. I will mention, though, don't forget Scunny won on Tuesday. They did win on Tuesday, didn't they?
Yeah,
they did win on Tuesday.
10 men. So 10 men as well.
The gap is very close to Carlisle now. Carlisle are in big danger. I don't think you're far on with 2 points. I think that is fair.
Mm-hmm. It's for me, it's a point against Orient and it's a point against Rochdale. I think they lose Colchester, Swindon, and Oldham. You may disagree on that, but that to me, I can't see them picking up a win. I just, like you say, they're in free fall. They have got a game in hand on Scunny, but I can't see where the points are going to come from. The next I looked at was Barrow, and Barrow have got Stevenage, Exeter, Harrogate, Bristol, and Walsall, and I've got them picking up 6 points.
I was going to say,
I was going to say against Walsall, and who was 2 games before?
I've got Stevenage,
Harrogate.
Exeter. See, I've got them losing to Harrogate, and I've got them winning against Stevenage. I think they'll win this weekend.
Yeah, I think you're probably fair, actually.
Are they home or away for Harrogate?
For Harrogate, let me just double check.
They're in really kind of mixed form. Obviously, they beat Bradford on Saturday, but we don't need to talk about that. But they're kind of on.
Arrow got spanked on Saturday. On Tuesday, by the way.
Yeah,
Arrow did. I enjoyed that. quite a lot.
They're at home on Saturday to Stevenage, and I think they should. Do you know what? I think we all agreed that in the January transfer window, they were the club. They made the best signings, and I think that 6 points from a possible 15. I think they've got that. I do think they've got that in them. Maybe the 6 points come from somewhere else.
Oh my days! What a strike!
I told you, because you obviously you said to me, I've been told that he lobbed from far out. I was like, it weren't a lob. It was
my dad. He was watching. He said he lobbed him, but that he just pinged it. He seen Killip off his line, and he just pinged
Incredible.
it. What a strike from Rooney!
That's typical Rooney for you. You know, he's done that everywhere he's gone. He's a great footballer, really is. He's just
three great goals in that game. So Rooney's goal, phenomenal, and then Molineux for us, two phenomenal goals from
Molineux this summer.
Well, he runs out of contract in the summer. So it's crucial that we keep on. We keep hold of him. He is. If we don't do anything this season, which I don't think we will go up this season, or even get to the playoffs, it's crucial that we keep him going forward. He was criminally underused under Challoner, and he's just performing so well in this league. How he wasn't in the team of the week this week, I don't know. But yeah, 3 great goals in that game.
I saw the Rooney goal. I didn't see the others, but I'll have a look. Don't you worry. I'll have a look. So that's Barrow is 6 points. It's a win against Stevenage, and then they beat Walsall. Oldham. I've actually got out of the 4 teams that I'm talking about here. I think Oldham are going to perform the best. I think they're going to get 8 points from the next 15, and that's a draw at Newport or a draw against Newport. I don't know if it's home or away, but I think Bradford are going to beat them. And Chris, I know I'm not going to predict the game. That's all I'm going to say on it. I think they're going to lose there. I think they'll beat Colchester. I think they'll draw against Crawley, and I think they'll beat Carlisle. So that's 8 points for them. And the Resurrection carries on. Resurrection carries on.
I think that's fair, and I think that could, that could be them climbing well out of that position.
Yeah. And then lastly, Walsall. Weirdly, so obviously Barrow have got Walsall as their 5th game, but Walsall have got one of their game in hands before that. So I've got them they've got a horrific run.
The run is howling. If you're in free fall, you've sacked your manager. You do not want this run of games coming up.
No.
Come on then.
So, go on, Chris. In fact, can we let Chris?
Yeah, have a guess. So 5 games coming up for them. I would say that 4 of the 5 are horrific games.
Okay, Forest Green.
Yep.
Tranmere.
Yep.
Mansfield.
No.
Thankfully for them, not.
Port Vale.
Nope.
No.
Go on, give me the other ones.
Swindon. So Swindon the 9th.
Northampton.
And the 5th game, Hartlepool.
Oh.
I've got them picking up 4 points from these 5 games. I think they're going to turn Hartlepool over.
I know the only reason you think that is because they're at home.
It's away at Walsall, and Hartlepool don't win away from home. So I think if I'm a Walsall fan or if I'm a Walsall player right now, I'm looking at those 5 games and I'm thinking, they're playing the top 3. I'm thinking, write those games off. You've got to write those games off. It's not going to happen. I think you've got to be looking at beating Hartlepool, and you've got to be looking at trying to get a draw against Swindon. That's all I can see with it. I think it may be.
They've got Barrow.
That's when the Barrow game comes, which is it's difficult, isn't it? It's that would essentially plunge Carlisle into the bottom 2, but. And this is where we spoke about Scunny getting the win the other night. Scunny aren't playing any of these 4 sides in the next 5 games. Scunny are playing teams that are higher up. So Scunthorpe, we're just going to because we'll have a look. Scunthorpe's fixtures, they've got Swindon, then they've got Rochdale, then they've got Northampton, then Sutton. So their run's not much better than Walsall's here. Then they've got Crawley. So that's their 5. So Swindon, Rochdale, Northampton, Sutton, and Crawley. They are, when we talk about free fall, they are beyond free fall.
And I think what you're saying as well is that you're right with the next 5 games. I think we're gonna pretty much know. I know it sounds crazy already. We're going to pretty much know who is going to be the ones. If Walsall, for me, if they lose all of those games, I think we could be looking at them going down. I really, really do. I think they're obviously in huge free fall right now. Could it be Walsall? Could someone have a last minute great escape? I think so. I think this is going to be interesting.
We've got the worst form in the league of Walsall. Worst form in the league.
Was it they lost the last 7?
Yeah, 7 now. But here's the thing. Here's what could save Walsall for me. Carlisle being worse.
Yeah,
that could be the thing. Carlisle being worse. It could be a case of Walsall have got to try and get something out of these next 5 games. If they don't, it could be that their fate's not even in their hands anyway. Because if Carlisle still don't get anything out of theirs, I mean, to be fair, if they all lose all these games, then we could be sat here in 5 games time with another hour's work, writing down all the fixtures and trying to guess, and we could be starting it again.
And there goes us going, why do we make predictions?
Yeah, no, this is it. We're not very good at it, are we?
Do you remember week 1? Yeah.
Oh, week 1 prediction. I think the thing is, kind of when we're going on the Walsall there, I think what a lot of people won't know is our pilot episode that's unseen. We had a Walsall fan that we were chatting to, and we're like, "Who's your star player?" And it was a struggle.
Yeah.
I am going to get him. I am going to talk to him and see if he can get a better internet connection and get him back on, because their season has just gone from. I spoke to him the day of our game, and he messaged me, and I can't remember what he said. It was something like he just said smash and grab, and I was like, that's what you want.
There was a point between pools. There was a Bradford and Walsall at that point.
Yeah,
we've all gone in completely different directions.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, you haven't moved, have you? You've just
we've
stayed. We've gone a couple of places higher, but that's it. And Walsall have just plummeted. And
so,
yeah, his name's Andrew. It was Andrew, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll if you are watching, I know he does watch. I'll be in touch, and it would be interesting to get you on at some stage. But we have actually got someone joining us tonight. We asked last week for either an Oldham fan to come back to us, or we spoke about a Mansfield fan or a Forest Green fan. We have a Mansfield fan for next week, ready to go. Couldn't do this week, which was fine because we actually had a Forest Green fan. We found one. We found a Forest Green fan. It took until last night, so it took 6 days to find one, and then so
that was going through the broccoli in Asda.
It was. I was literally laying a trail of like peas outside, just up the motorway trying to get him here. So yeah, guys. This is Sean. Sean's going to be joining us now to talk about Forest Green and the good season they've had that I hate talking about. So we are joined now by Sean. Oh, I got the point right, guys. Sean at Dark Shell Code. You can explain that a little bit, but Sean is a Forest Green fan, joining us. I mean, one of 12. Sean, we're gonna make a lot of jokes about that, but do you know what?
We got that many?
Yeah. To be fair, it comes from a place of jealousy. I think a massive place of jealousy this season from all 3 of us. Like we all 100%. Thought that our clubs were going to be there. Sean, Forest Green fan, welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself. Why you follow Forest Green first of all, and how long for?
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me anyway. Well, basically, I started following I think it was like 2005, just after I left secondary school. My best mate, Dan, his uncle, like in the 90s. And my family were ever really into football, but I was like football mad. Used to watch everything on the TV. So we caught the bus at one time. It was obviously our local club. And from then on, like I just loved going up there. It was just like such a good experience watching live football. Obviously, they were non-league then. Dale wasn't the owner. They didn't have any money, and they were part-time when I first started going up. Then they went full-time, and then they ran into a load of money problems, and they went back part-time, and then that's when Dale came in. Like I think it was about 5 years later. So, yeah, I don't know. I just loved it. And obviously now it's just progressed because obviously Dale's come in.
Yeah, it's a strange one. The story I think of Forest Green is well, there's nothing like it. We spoke about this last week. The vegan thing. Are you a vegan yourself?
No, majority of fans aren't. There are some that have started following the club because they're vegan.
Yeah.
But before, I mean, I'm one of the rare ones who's obviously had a burger up there because obviously before Dale come in, they did sell burgers. And there's still quite a few people like that. But
what do you eat now then on a match day?
I do eat the food on a match day. Like, to be fair, it's actually quite nice food.
I've heard quite a few folks saying that, by the way. Like a lot of folks going and expecting to go, oh, this is going to be rubbish. And then when they come out, they go, actually, it's all right. You never see anyone. You know how you see on Twitter people going, oh, this is the burger or the chips and cheese that I got from this ground. And it's like poke chips with a little bit of square plastic cheese on it. Yeah, I never really see it. I've never heard anything bad about the food at Forest Green, to be fair, as much as we slag it off.
No, I think what it is like I said, people like to go there and have your normal pie or burger or whatever. Obviously the way, and like I've always said it, I don't disagree. Like I've seen a lot of people say, you know, he should put a meat menu on for, you know, people and give them the choice, which is right. But when your belief as a vegan is like to animals and things like that, it's not easy to put a meat menu on.
It's a principle thing, I think, for a lot of people that go and don't eat it. Like, how do you feel? Do you like leave a game and go and do like a Kurt Zuma when you get home and just boot your cat just to even things out a bit? Like, because I think I'd feel obliged to just stop and just on the way home just pull the car over and just punch a sheep in the forehead. just some balance.
To be honest, mate, I genuinely I don't really think about it. Like, oh yeah,
it's an hour and a half or 2 hours. You know, it's not a big thing, is it?
I mean, there goes our invite to Forest Green now, isn't it? Liam now says if he ever goes, he's going to punch a sheep on the way back.
So do you know? Funny story. I actually got on really well with. Like, when did you sack your manager this season at some stage? Or was it last season? Right, so your manager this season, I actually got on really, really well with. I had a chat with him earlier this season when you guys played us. And I asked him about the vegan stuff, and he said, you know, when the players are at the club, they respect it. They have to. It's part of the culture within the club. But when it comes to away games, they're allowed to sort of eat a bit differently, which I think that's good. And I like the fact that the owner knows that. Obviously, he's never going to stop them doing that, but it's not something that they hide away. They're not sat in a corner trying to sneak a burger or a sausage or something.
That's the other side of it as well. Is like. People like he's always said like he's come and try something different. He's not forcing people to eat it, and I believe he did say, I can't remember where I seen or read it, but he doesn't stop people, I think, taking their own food if they wanted to anyway. So it's like you always get people go, I'm going to sneak in my own bacon sarnie. And it's just like, I don't think he's that bothered. Like, if that's
just lets him do it anyway.
Yeah, you crack on and do it. He's never said, like, you can't. And it's the same with the players, and I know that for a fact. He doesn't force the players to eat vegan. No one at the club does. No. It's purely, if you want the club to supply you the food, it will be vegan food.
Yeah. But I think the training ground and things, I think is vegan, which is expected. But that thing there, he doesn't stop people bringing their own food, and it's when he goes into the away end one game and there's George Foreman sat frying some bacon for the stand.
2 years ago, there was a picture that come across online somewhere in the paper, I think, of Forest Green players eating in the subway after a loss. And everyone made a big thing of it, and it was just like they're choosing to go and eat in Subway. Like like he doesn't care.
Yeah,
that's the exact thing. That's the thing I quite like about Dale Vince. I was listening to a podcast with him today. Before we came on it, he finds it quite funny. I think he's quite a funny guy. The way he was going on, he's like, yeah, like when we're around the club, this is the lifestyle that we and we go with in the club grounds. And he says everyone takes the piss, but He says, I really like that, and he thrives off that and takes the piss back out of them.
Yeah, you don't take anything seriously, and I think the biggest example of that would be Tranmere. I mean, there's always been a little bit of a rivalry there from the non-league because obviously we beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think, and actually, it's only the other Saturday when we beat them, their fans were really, really decent, I actually seen a tweet to Dale, and they were like, Dale, to be fair, you take everything that's thrown at you and you give it all back, and you're actually quite funny. Their main problem led with Mark Cooper. What rival fans don't realise is us Forest Green fans hated Mark Cooper probably more than they did. I mean, they only had to put up with him for 2 games a season. We had to put up with him for 46.
Yeah.
I mean, here you are. So I suppose a question is, one word, sum up your season so far, because, wheels could fall off yet. But sum up your season.
Probably a little surprised. I expected us to, I didn't expect us to do this well.
Yeah.
I thought we were good for top 3. I never thought we would have been this far ahead.
Yeah. You've been phenomenal this season. You have been absolutely phenomenal. And we mentioned last week as well, we said, Grant mentioned about the wheels falling off. Chu, you just mentioned it as well. I can't see it. I can't see the wheels falling off. I think the football that you play is phenomenal. I love your wing backs. I do, and I said this as well last week. I think you've got the best 2 wing backs in the league. And Matty Stevens. I mean, what the hell? He was at Peterborough before, right? And went on.
Yeah, he was at Peterborough. I think he was out on loan. We signed him. Yeah, we signed him under Mark Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, he played quite a few times under Mark Cooper, but he didn't really score.
Yeah.
He had quite a few appearances, but he couldn't back of the net. And then we put him out on loan to Stevenage, or Mark Cooper put him out on loan to Stevenage. And he had the same, I don't know what went on there, but something happened there because obviously when he scored against them at the start of the season, I saw Stevens' dad tweet then just say like nothing against the club or the fans, but after the way Alex Revel treated my boy or something, like that's really deserved, or it's along them lines. So something went on there. I don't know what, but then I've probably got to eat my own words a little bit because I genuinely thought we should have got rid of him in the summer. In the summer. Because, like I said, he had a good run of games under Cooper and didn't do anything. And then he went to Stevenage in the same. So he's completely proved me wrong. I wasn't expecting to do what he's done.
It does happen. It does happen massively. I think Josh Morris, Chris, was one, wasn't there?
Absolutely.
We got rid of him and he went to Scunthorpe. And he had one season. He's not done it since, but that one season that he had was incredible.
Sorry, man. Go carry on.
I was just going to say, just to throw some stats at you for your season: 19 wins, 8 draws, 2 losses.
Man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a surprise to everybody.
Here's the thing: Chris said about the way that they play, phenomenal, and you've got to, I suppose, the top of the league are running away with it. But Chris, do you remember when they played us early this season?
Yeah.
I didn't think they were, and that's not a knock. I genuinely, when you played us, we were the better side, and that's not bitterness. Genuinely,
no, yeah.
We drew one all.
We drew 1-0, but I think the thing about that game was the fact that you didn't play particularly well, yet you could have clinched it. And
they should have had a goal. Look, it should have been disallowed their goal if you remember back.
Yeah, but I think it was a
strange one.
It was kind of coming
where there was like a foul or something in the build-up.
Well, your lad, it was on Gilead. Your lad went in, took Gilead out, and the referee waved advantage to you guys as if Gilead had done the foul and you guys had played up. Then there was another foul in the run-up, and then I think there was possibly a foul on the keepers. There's something happened, but it was insane. But genuinely, like you. And it sounds like we're coming off quite bitter, but for me, like a lot in that game, I don't know if you were there. I don't know if did you go to the Bradford?
No, I didn't make the Bradford one because I work shifts. I work 4 on, 4 off, so I work 4 Saturdays and I have 4 Saturdays off.
Right. So in that game, every time the ball went near you when there was a Bradford player by floor, and it happened a lot in that game. And I do remember coming away going, we should have been 3-0 up at half time. I think Andy Cook missed 2.
You said that to me after the game as well, I remember.
And I remember saying to you, I said to Grant, I said, Forest Green aren't going to walk this league if that's how they play. I said, it was essentially, we didn't play, we played, it's a story of our season. We were the better side. We just, we didn't create it. But you guys have, looking back, I've gone back through your season, and most games you never ever dominate possession. You don't have the most of the ball, but you make the most of when you get it.
Back to the first game of the season, we played Sutton at home.
Yeah.
And I can pretty much tell you now that we beat them 2-1. But only just. It was like they were probably the better side for most parts of that game. And someone actually said in the crowd then, like, oh, we could be looking at a relegation scrap if we carry on doing this. And I don't know, we sort of got stronger as the season went on, and we have looked really good in most games. But like you just said with the Bradford game, there is the odd game where we sort of don't probably perform to where our league position tells us.
The thing is, we always fancy you guys to score. Every game we
this
go
season,
into,
we've scored a lot. Well, obviously, we scored a lot of goals.
You've got 2 of the top 3 goal scorers in the league. As I said, we're speaking about Matthew Stevens. He's on 20 goals for the season, and Jamil Matt 17, and he's firing a load of assists for you as well.
Yeah,
and he done the same for you. He done the same for you last season. He's already equaled his goal tally this season, what he's done last season. He doesn't look like he's going to be stopping anytime soon.
And I feel sorry for someone like Josh March. Now, he scores goals, but Matty Stevens have been so strong, he hasn't had a look in.
And you can't drop a player that's doing what they're doing.
No. Obviously, I think Matty Stevens, just over the new year, tested positive for COVID, so he missed a couple of games. So March come in, and he scored like 2 goals in 3 games. Obviously, Matt was back, so Matty Stevens was back, so he then got dropped back to the bench. And Matty Stevens has carried on where he left off. Yeah, it is. But I mean, I feel sorry for Josh March because he's such a professional lad. I mean, it must be so hard to sit on the bench knowing probably your own potential.
Yeah.
And just not getting a look in. He's young. I think he's only like early 20s.
So if you've got someone like March, you've got Stevens. Jamil Matt's not getting any younger. I mean, you're looking there. You've got almost a future front two. You're sitting there in Stevens and March.
Well, March is quite similar to, for me, is quite similar to striker to Stevens. And Stevens is only, I think, 23 or
23.
Yeah, 23.
I mean, it can't be.
It pains me to say it, but I think, and I'd love March to be with us. He's that sort of player. He works hard. He's professional. You know, he doesn't cause a stink behind. You know, you can see the togetherness in the whole squad, the way they are. But I think for him, he will need to move on. And that's a bad thing.
We'll take him if you're looking to get rid of him. We don't mind.
To be honest, any team who needs a goal scorer, they need to go after March. I'm telling you now, he will be a decent striker.
So that's 23 teams in League Two that are knocking on his door.
That's who Walsall won't be signing then.
Well, to be fair, he actually comes from his closest league team.
Yeah,
he's Walsall.
He comes from that way.
No way.
So for you then, a question for you about the potential, because obviously you're going to go up. We said this before the Tranmere game. We said that was the game. Either you got dragged back into it if you didn't win, or if you beat them, that was the league. It was done. It was finished, and you didn't just win. You destroyed them.
That mirrored my words, basically. That's what I was saying.
So looking up at League One, what do you think about next season? how far do you think this team can go without major investment in the squad? How far do you think it can go? Because you're looking next season, Rotherham are going up by the similar vein to you guys. It's the same points. Rotherham are probably going to go up here. You've got 2 of these are going to go up, but just for example, Wigan, MK Dons, Sunderland, Wickham, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth, Bolton, Portsmouth, Charlton. There's some big names in that league.
Yeah.
What do you see yourselves doing next year without major investment? You're going to make changes, but what's it going to be?
If we kept the team we got, I think we're probably looking around. I would say probably around mid-table. I don't think they'd be in a relegation scrap.
Yeah.
And I just think going up to League One and playing that sort of caliber of sides, I couldn't see us really going for a promotion push either. I think we'd probably just be a comfortable mid-table side.
Possibly, yeah.
I don't see that as being a bad thing for a club the size of Forest Green where they are at the moment, because I was looking what Nailsworth's a small place where they're based, isn't it? You're talking about 5,500 people that live there. And getting a club to the stature that Forest Green are after having a relatively short time coming up through the conference. And I think, as you said, unless the right investment comes in, it has to be the right investment for Forest Green. Because Vince won't take anything other than anything sustainable coming into the club.
No, I mean...
he said? He wouldn't... If someone came up and handed him a golden ticket and said, I will give you X amount, and this pretty much guarantees you to get into the Championship or even enough to get into the Premier League. If it's not the right type of investment, he wouldn't take it. It has to be sustainable investment for him to go forward. And I think to keep going the way that he's going and doing it, it's admirable. And I think getting into League One is a huge, huge achievement for the club.
Yeah, I mean, obviously people tar Forest Green as a money club, obviously, because Dales. In the National League days, I'd agree with them. Obviously, he did put money into getting promoted out of the National League. Since we've gone into League Two, he has balanced the books quite a lot more. The off-field structure that they've got in with, like, to help them financially, things like that is huge. I think I seen something the other day, we're like 8th on budget in League Two. So I don't think he put major money into the club in League One. I think you're right. He's only going to do what's right for the club. But it's a bit of an awkward one because a lot of our players are out of contract in the summer as well. A lot of the best players.
If he's got League One, I can only see you keeping your better players, though. They'll want to surely prove themselves at that higher level and have a go.
Yeah. It depends. It does depend what offers come in. Yeah.
If you've got Sunderland sniffing around you, I mean, you'd be stupid to not take a Sunderland offer regardless of whether they're League One.
It's not even Sunderland as well, though. I mean, you look at League One players dropping down into the National League for Stockport, for Wrexham, for those clubs. It's the money's there.
Yeah.
It's all about whether the players want to play or whether they want to earn money. And lower league football, the money is always, I think, too hard to turn down because they don't earn enough to be able to retire at the end of their career.
Cheltenham lost Ben Tozer to Wrexham.
Yeah.
But I genuinely don't think Cheltenham have any money whatsoever. Obviously, they won the league last season, but for me, the League Two was probably the poorest league last season than it has ever been. I know people said it's quite poor this year. I don't think it's as poor this year. I think Forest Green would have been promoted last year, but we had a key injury to Jamil Matt. We had a key injury to Dan Sweeney, who was massive for us in the midfield. And Nicky Cadden he missed a lot of games, but it wasn't like a long-term injury, but we kept rushing him back from like a hamstring. So then he'd come back for like 45 minutes, and then where he'd rushed him back, he'd injure himself and go for another month. Yeah, and I think we were like
this year.
2 wins away from, or 1-0 win away from actually being promoted top 3. So I think had them players stayed fit, we would have gone up last year. but injuries killed us. But the other thing with that is Mark Cooper. He wasn't. His man management was awful. Obviously, he played possession-based football. It was sideways and backwards, so we didn't score nowhere near as many as we obviously have done this year. And he just didn't appreciate anything. He never took responsibility for anything. And I think that's the difference with Rob Edwards, is he's come in, the positivity he's shown to the players, like the commitment and the trust he's shown in the players. Obviously, he didn't really sign anybody in January because he believes that squad of players is enough to do the job. And even though, like you said, we don't have a lot of fans, he appreciates the fans we do have, which obviously Cooper didn't. He always tried to compare us to teams like Swindon Town. It was always like, you know, on away games, like Swindon would take a load of fans. Obviously, Bradford themselves, you know, they take, I think you took more fans to Rochdale, didn't you, than Rochdale had home.
Yeah. I mean, it's only half an hour away, but that's usually that's the first time, Chris, that they've ever announced that attendance and admitted that we had more fans than them. We usually sell 2,500-3,000 tickets, and they announce 3,900 fans, and it's like, but they announced that we've only taken 1,400, and it's stupid.
But the same thing happened with Tranmere as well. Like, obviously, they took more fans to Salford. And obviously Salford had home fans. And I mean, you know, then, like, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, that sort of support, I mean, I'm jealous of that sort of support, because I would love to go in a massive pack of fans like that, pack out a stadium, and just, you know, obviously that don't happen.
It's not always great. It's not always great.
What's I think is great about the Forest Green fans is they all generally, they're from that area. You don't really meet many new Forest Green fans now unless they've come through the whole Dale Vince vision and what he's brought to the club. But the vast majority are people from the area that have been brought up supporting this local club coming through. And I think we kind of forget about that. And I think we've been critical before about going, oh, they've got no fans, blah. But they are. Traditionally, they're a tiny, tiny club that have been shot up.
Yeah, well, like you said, obviously there's like, 5,500 people in Nailsworth. And to be fair, majority of the fans don't even come from Nailsworth. They come from like Stroud, Stonehouse, Cam, Dursley, like the sort of surrounding areas. But the problem is there are a lot of Swindon fans around in Stroud as well. And I mean, actually, there's loads of Swindon fans and Bristol Rovers fans, a few Bristol City. So it is tough to draw the fans in, but obviously he's got this new ground pass, which is going to be just off the junction of the M5. There was a bit of an uproar about it because he's moving the club like 10 minutes away. It's not like your MK Dons Wimbledon scenario, which some people's compared it as. I mean, obviously that's completely different. He's moving it for better access. I mean, I don't know if you've been down to Forest Green.
Not yet. We've got you in about, I think, late March, early April. I think we're playing.
The access, you'll see what I mean. The access is absolutely atrocious for, you know, when you're playing, like you said, like in League One, when you've got your Sunderland, your Portsmouth, like all these teams, even teams like Plymouth that travel really well. Yeah. And, you know, even a team like Wigan, I mean, you know, they're not one of the biggest clubs in the world, but they're still a big club, really, for a League One standard.
They're still a recent Premier League side as well, aren't they? Like not that long ago, they were in the Premier League. How many away fans can you guys hold? Just out of curiosity.
It's about one. I think the Newport game sold out, and they had like 1,224.
Interesting. We'll see if we can see what we do, because I think Forest Green is probably one where we will travel in numbers. We've got to see the champions, and I think a lot of people feel a bit aggrieved about that game earlier this season. But I think what I am going to do is if anyone else has got nothing else to add, have you got anything else that you want to touch on about Forest Green, guys? Just before we say thank you very much to Sean and we let him go on. he's got to go and cook some lettuce and get himself ready for Saturday's game. But no, Sean, cheers, thank you. Honestly, here's the thing, right? Finding a Forest Green fan is very difficult. So I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back as well, because not only I found one that was willing to come on. It's insane. There's not many of you about. You like gold dust, but yeah. Honestly, thank you very much for coming on.
No, I appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me again.
Good. Well, I mean, listen, if you struggle next season and you're looking like you're heading back down, we'll have you on again to talk about what's going to happen the season after. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So, guys, say your goodbyes.
Thank you very
Cheers,
much.
man.
All the best for the rest of the season.
Yeah, cheers, Sean. So, thanks very much to Sean for coming on, guys. Guys, guy.
You know what? That was. I'm really glad, and it was nice to also talk about obviously the vegan stuff. But obviously, he's been a fan of them since he was at school. I found that really enjoyable, just to listen to the outlook and the future that they've got planned. And as I've said before, I hate saying it, but their team for me really, really impressed me every single week. And it's just it's dream world for them. It is dream world, but this is football, isn't it? And this is why we love football.
Yeah,
I'm
just
interested to see how far the club can go and how far this project of Forest Green can go. I'm excited for their new development. I spoke about it last week, and yeah, it just intrigues me as watching the club grow.
It's going to be it's quite. I don't really think anyone really sees them as a rival as such. Like, I certainly don't. Obviously, when they're in the same league, you don't want anyone to beat you. But I'll be looking at them in League One, and I'll be hoping that they do well.
The big one, which I think he touched on, was Tranmere. Tranmere seems to be their big. It's not like a local derby, but it's because they've always been competing for the same thing.
Yeah, and he mentioned that a lot of Tranmere's sort of animosity wasn't towards Forest Green, was it? It was towards the manager. For a period of time. So
managers, they both were always fighting in around the playoffs of the National League, both fighting for promotion, and now they're both fighting for the League 2 number 1 spot. So they always seem to be on level pegging with each other just now. So yeah, it's interesting to watch the two of them and kind of almost like a new rivalry develop in football.
It's strange. So we'll move on from him. We'll hopefully see him next season when they're looking at relegation. No, I'm joking. But we did say we'd have him back on if that happened. Just want to touch something we touched on last week, because we spoke about the bottom of the league, and then we sort of look at sometimes the league below. Chesterfield. Rowe was suspended. We all saw what he did and what he said, but they then sacked him.
What did he do? Tell us what happened, Stu.
No, we can't. No.
Basically, well, what had happened was he was caught.
I can't do that.
Yeah, so he was caught basically saying something to a fan and offering them out, but apparently there'd been a few disciplinary issues with him, so he was sacked. And then obviously today, incredible news. Paul Cook, that is again showing the conference's power.
Yeah,
mad. Absolutely mad sign. Do you know what? I was gutted for them at the weekend, because it looked like they were going to be doing a job 2-0 up on Stockport, and I was like, get in there. Big Scott Loach keeping a clean sheet, and I was like, here we go. And then they got a man sent off, and then they conceded another 2. And a Dave Challoner team does Dave Challoner things, and he comes back and grabs another point. I was just hoping it was a massive 6-pointer and they could have extended that lead at the top.
I'm pretty sure as well. I'm pretty sure I saw Dave Challoner doing the fist pump thing to the fans and kissing the badge at full time. I don't know if you saw that, Grant, but no. So guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. Last week, me and Chris got into a discussion about Bradford. We're not going to do that this week without mediation and time management from Grant. But what we're going to do as well is we're going to also speak to Grant, because Hartlepool didn't play in the league on Saturday, Grant.
Nope, we did not.
Why not? Tell us, Grant. Where were you?
What we said last week, FA Cup 4th round with Crystal Palace. What a game. It was. I didn't expect a win out of it. We lost 2-0. But do you know what? The big win out of this game for me was just football. The atmosphere was great. Palace fans were great. Our fans were phenomenal. They got on really well. And it was almost like we built a relationship with another club in the Premier League. And one of the huge things that came out of it was Crystal Palace, their club put out that they were wanting to raise the funds to help with Graham Lee's wife's brain tumour. Yeah. Because they're saying it's something like 60 grand a year needed to fund the treatment for her brain tumour. Wow. And Palace started sharing it. Palace got involved in it, and the funds went up to 80,000 over that weekend. Wow. So phenomenal support from Crystal Palace fans. And do you know what? I would love to be able to see us get a pre-season friendly with Crystal Palace, with that relationship that's been built. A lot of Palace fans have said that they'll look out for our results now. And I think a few are going to the away games that are closer down that way as well if Palace aren't at home. So, yeah, phenomenal weekend overall is in just the sport of football. It's what it's all about for me.
And I think on that point there as well, you want that friendly at home, don't you? Because they're not going to sell their ground out for Hartlepool, but you guys are going to sell yours out for Crystal Palace.
Exactly, not for a friendly. It'd be great. Yeah. It'd be great.
You guys will, and do you know? To be fair, you've had a good week. Tuesday, you went 1-0 down to a ridiculous goal, absolutely ridiculous goal, and it showed a lot of character. I think to come back from 1-0 down and spank. Obviously, I know Barrow down the bottom, but still
convincingly, win quite convincingly. I said 2 great goals from Molyneux. Omar Bogle opening his goal-scoring campaign at home with us. So, yeah, really happy to get him off the mark and get a well-needed win like that for us, I think. And I think it'll push us going forward. Reverted back to 4-3-3 as well. So, which I think's only going to be positive.
So, what do you think then going forward? You've got Crawley away this weekend. Obviously, you're still on the 1 away win this season. I think you are, aren't you?
1 away win this season, yeah.
Which we won't talk about because we're not talking about Bradford in this podcast anymore.
Oh, yes. Finally. Yeah. Crawley away this weekend. To be fair, Grant, we spoke about the runs that Walsall have got, that Scunthorpe have got. Yours ain't much better. You've got Crawley away, then Tranmere at home, then Sutton at home. You're lucky that you've got them games at home, but you've got that Walsall game, which it's away again. So that I can't. It's difficult. Out of your next 5 games, 3 of them are away. So looking at the run of things and how things have gone this season, you've got to think the maximum out of those 3 games is 3 points. It's 3 draws as a best case scenario, but unless you pull something out of the bag.
Do you know what I think we are with the business that we've done in January? I think we're going to be looking at almost a different second half to the season. I think the business that's been done is going to make it completely different, especially now if we're going to be playing 4-3-3 going forward. I'm feeling a lot more positive about away games. I can see he's picking up more points.
I hope so. Yeah, he's got to change at some point for you, hasn't he?
I'd love to pick up a point at Crawley at the weekend. Tranmere, it's going to be hard. I don't think anyone can say, we expect a win against Tranmere, even though we're at home. It's going to be a tough game. Sutton, always a tough one. Both National League teams last season had a bit of history. They won the league. They're flying high. Always a tough place, or always a tough team to play because they're physical. Colchester and Walsall, I think we'll take 6 points out of those 2 games.
I hope you do. I genuinely hope you do. I really hope that you get at least another away win this season, because I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that statistic. I don't know about you, Chris, but I really don't want to be that in 20 years' time when I go and visit Hartlepool away and I'm sat in a pub doing a quiz and it's in the 2021-22 season. Hartlepool won 1 away game. Fuck off, straight out the door.
Absolutely. But I tell you what, it's interesting. We just mentioned about Sutton, and to be honest, we haven't mentioned Sutton in any of the podcasts, have we? And how well their season's going.
I mentioned the amount of money that they had to spend pre-season and where they are in comparison to where I thought they would have been.
Yeah, I mean they've kind of just gone under the radar, and they've just carried on going under the radar, even though they are in the playoff positions. And
it's a phenomenal. They're not just in the playoff positions. The 2 points outside of automatic.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're fourth. I mean, they have got my team. Well, the team that I'm particularly going on about quite a lot at the moment, Mansfield, who again won again. And we were talking as well earlier on as well, by the way, about great goals. Research.
Oh,
Research.
That was ridiculous.
Wow.
That's what you want, innit? That's what you want from a player. You just want a player. Any team in this league wants a player that is not afraid to just run and run and run at players, run at defenders, and then just. I think the last time I saw like we had that was Naki Wells.
Yeah.
Because he scored goals like that, but the goal was incredible. Like,
do you know the last time that we had that?
Was it for Resource for you?
It was Resource last season.
Yeah.
I thought it was Mike Fondop earlier this season.
It was Resource last season, and then he went on to Mansfield.
Yeah,
controversially, but what a goal! That's the sort of stuff that I'd loved watching him do last season. See when he gets the ball on his feet and he just runs, he just does some sort of magic. He's got skills that he can do out of nowhere. Yeah, I think now he's certainly found his feet in League Two, which I think a lot of people weren't sure if he would be able to step up, because he's done it in the past where he's really struggled, but he's built himself physically as a player, and yeah, he's doing great at Mansfield. What a goal at the weekend! Phenomenal.
It's disgusting. It should that goal shouldn't be happening at League Two football. It just shouldn't, but it just shows that this league can be either the worst league in the world or it can produce some of the best. So, guys, we've got a couple of minutes left. Chris, I'm gonna touch on Bradford and I'm gonna let Grant lead the conversation. Since last week, a win and a loss.
Yeah, very disappointed. Very disappointing loss against Harrogate. I felt that we were dominant in the first half, but then they had a chance, scored, and the rest is history with that game. There was obviously a lot of talk on Twitter, social media about Adams out. I may have said something similar.
I was going to say, was that just your account?
I said that I didn't feel that he believed in the club enough. Obviously, I imagine that someone's probably had a go or had a chat with him and said, listen, you need to stop abusing the fans. And a very nice win on Tuesday, to be honest. I thought we played some good football. Hendry coming back on his debut.
By the way, Grant, I know you'd like it. Incredible.
Yeah,
performance.
Great.
It was unreal performance.
It was great. Just bombing down the right hand side, without a care in the world, going for everything. And he's a City fan, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, he's a local lad as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
his entire family's played for us.
Well, yeah, that's it. And but yeah, I think things are a bit more positive. We've got Exeter on Saturday. Fingers crossed that we could turn in a corner.
I think we are, and I think I said to you at the game last week, I felt like we were starting to turn a corner for a few weeks. It's just because we've been. I can't remember the last game I went to or the last game that I saw where we came away from it and we were the worst side by far, like for the whole game. We've had that. It's been such a strange season, but we go into this Saturday. I'm buzzing. I think that we've got a great chance. Exeter. I mean, this will be the fourth time we've played them this season.
No, I think is it the fourth?
Fifth.
It's the fifth time. Yeah.
As long as Exeter remember the amount of substitutes that they're allowed to use, I don't see any issues at this game. I think FTC views had lost on Tuesday. I think this would have had a totally different discussion, and I think questions we asked questions last week of how long do you give Adams. I think, with the Walsall job might not have been the only one that we may have been discussing this week.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my feeling on it.
I'm buzzing. I'm so happy that we got that win on Tuesday. It was scrappy. It was scrappy, but it was a good kind of scrappy. It's about time we had one of those scrappy games where we were the team that came out on top. And yeah, I mean, we'll take it. We go into this Saturday. You've got to be confident. Quick question, Chris Hendry coming in. Do you think that's the end of Threlkeld?
No.
With how we've set the defence up now?
I don't think it is, but I can't see him. There's no way he's getting back in the team.
But so what happens to him? Does he stay at the club and fight for his place, or do you think he stays with us till the end of the season and goes?
Well, he's got 2 year deal, hasn't he? Unless somebody else picks up his contract. I can see Thurcall being here for another year. I think that actually he was performing okay in the previous games. However, when Hendry played,
it was chalk and cheese. We said against who did we play last week when we were there? We were on the last Tuesday. I can't remember who it was. We were sat together and we both said that Threlkeld was Crawley was the Saturday.
Leyton Orient.
And we sat there. We both said Threlkeld's been really good. And then on Saturday against Harrogate, he didn't have a bad game. I didn't think he had a bad game. Obviously, what happened. But anyway, so we go into this weekend. Grant, you want to get a point against Crawley this weekend? Do you think you can get a? Do you think? I mean, you've said you're going to set up a bit differently. Why wait until Colchester and Walsall to get those wins? Why do you not think?
I think, by the way, I think we can have a right good go at Crawley. I really do. They're not that far ahead of us in the grand scheme of things in the table. We've got a game in hand on them as well. We beat Crawley. We win our game in hand. Then we're bang level pegging with them, and we're back there in the midst of it. I do think. You see, if we're setting up 4-3-3 again, I don't see any reason why we can't take the win against Crawley. But it is just getting that confidence away from home for Hartlepool.
So
I'm going to say you're going to win. I'm going to say you're going to win this week.
I hope they do. I really, it's been a joke. It has been a running joke, and like I mention it every time Hartlepool are playing away. I always make the joke. Oh, you away then? No, you won't be winning.
The Ducks got a break at some point for them.
Yeah, and I think so. We're not going to go on scores. I'm not interested in what scores you think it's going to be. I think we'll have a really good game this weekend. I think you guys could have a potential really good game, and I think next week we can evaluate my guesses on League Two's bottom 5 teams. But guys, unless you've got anything else to say, how weird was that to wrap Bradford up in 5 minutes? That's weird, isn't it?
No, right.
By the way, everyone will be buzzing that you two have stopped talking about Bradford. Last week I started falling asleep with you.
It's been hard, man. It has been. There's been times where
Jeremy Kyle was cancelled, so we had no place to talk about it but here. But we're there. Do you know what? It wouldn't be a football season as a Bradford fan if that wasn't a conversation at some stage. So, guys, anything else you want to add? Do you want to? Next week we've got a Mansfield fan coming on. We said afterwards. Who was it? You Carlisle fan, Chris?
I really hope Mansfield continue winning, so we don't have to bring them on in a bad mood. I
said those exact words to him because originally he was going to come on this week and he couldn't do it, and he said, "Oh, I can do next week." I said, "I hope to Christ you keep this run going because it's going to be so." And I'll cancel on him. I'll cancel if they lose this week.
I'm glad it wasn't this week because they weren't playing and they were meant to be playing us. So I'm kind of glad it wasn't this week.
Be interesting, won't it? Well, guys, aside from that, I've got nothing else to add. So I'm going to say bye. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let you guys say bye if you want to, or you can just carry on chatting.
Do you want me to say goodbye to everyone?
Go on, you say goodbye.
I don't get to say goodbye to everyone very often. Well, everyone, thank you for listening to the Lower League Look. I've been Grant. That's Liam.
That wasn't what you think it was, by the way. I was saluting like that.
That is Chris. Everyone, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, rate us. Just remember, you can rate us. Give us 5 stars. Say whatever the hell you like about us. We don't care. We just want the rating. But yeah, give us a listen and give us a bit of feedback. Tell us what you want. If you've got any views that you want to share, give us a message. Come on. We've been the Lower League Look.